For a long time, Derry had been a huge city in terms of whisky manufacturing. In fact, it was the biggest whisky manufacturing city in the world, and that's not just Irish whisky, that's whisky. And then we had problems. The first was prohibition, and that was bad because the largest part of the market for us making whisky here in Derry was in the US. Until the Quiet Man has been introduced and has been blended and bottled here in Derry, there's been no Irish whisky for nearly 100 years. We have two variants of the Quiet Man. The first is the 8-year-old single malt. Now, a single malt whisky, what that means is that the whisky itself is made in one distillery and it's not blended with whisky from any other distillery. Within the whisky business here in Ireland, we tend to have grain whisky and malt whisky. And this is 8-year-old single malt whisky, which has been matured and finished in first fill after bourbon casks. We take bourbon casks from Kentucky, and all of the whisky will spend some of its time maturing in bourbon casks which have never had whisky before. A lot of whisky is matured in bourbon casks, but the cask may have had whisky in it 3 or 4 times. And each time the whisky interacts with the wood, it takes a little bit of the flavour from the wood. So if we get the casks which have never had whisky before, and we put our whisky into them, there's an awful lot of freshness in the cask. The spirit comes through, the smells, the spices, the sweetness of bourbon, and that imparts into our whisky a really special flavour. Then we also have a blended Irish whisky, and the Quiet Man blend is a blend of 80% grain whisky and 20% malt whisky. And what that means is that we take single malt whisky, which is made in one distillery, and we take single grain whisky, which again is made in one distillery, and we blend them together here. And the result then is a fabulous whisky, which is a lovely fruity, lovely floral nose, and then on the palate, it's got those wonderful tastes of spice at the finish. It's got a fantastic fruitiness and a dry, woody note right at the end. It's great to have the smell of the whisky when you walk along the bottling line. It's great to see the guys putting the labels on and putting the corks into the bottle. And it's fantastic that this is something that we can take forward together.
It's really amazing how many hands touch the product. From Paul at the very start of the process with the alcohol rinse on the empty bottles, through the filler, up to Darren and Stevie banging the caps on by hand, through here to the boys applying the labels by hand and getting every one of them perfectly straight. This really is as small batch and as handcrafted as whisky can get.
Irish whisky can only be produced in Ireland. It's not something that can migrate to somewhere else. It's something that helps keep everybody that works with us employed. It means we can continue to buy grain that's produced locally by local farmers in the way we've bought local cream for the last 30 years. So what we want to do is to be able to continue to make great products, to be able to continue to buy off local producers, and to be able to continue to employ local people. And what we really want is to see the whisky that we make here in Derry all over as many places as we can get it in the world. You want to have something that you can share with your family and friends. We're in the whisky business, but really, we're in the good time business. What we want is for people to sit around late at night and to set the world right, drinking great whisky, having great conversations, and having great times. Because at the end of the day, we're not all here for a long time. We should be here for a good time. And as we say in Ireland, you're a long time dead. It's named after my father. My father had been a barman here in Ireland for over 50 years. And he used to say that working behind the bar, he had seen everything that there was to see in life. He had heard every story that there was to hear. But like all good bartenders, he was true to his code and he told no tales. And they called him the Quiet Man.